Hi, I'm Marie, and I'm so excited to partner with HEB this year to help you holiday even brighter. You know, so many traditions are born in the kitchen and they can live on for generations. So now, with everything that's going on in the world, now is a perfect time to spend some time with your family in the kitchen, create those traditions, create those memories that really will last a lifetime. Today, I'm sharing one of our family's favorite traditions, which is a Texas pecan pie. And I make this pie every Thanksgiving, have for years. Everybody looks forward to it. It is so easy to make and comes out just incredible with so much flavor. Tons of big Texas pecans, a nice flaky crust, and this nice caramel flavor from the brown sugar and vanilla and eggs. It is just delicious. So I'm really excited to share this one with you. Let's get started. So, Texas pecan pie, what do you need? We'll start with one pie crust, and this is homemade. You can use store-bought, don't stress about it, just whatever works is great. Then for the filling, we'll need 1 cup light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons flour, 1 tablespoon vanilla, 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons melted butter, 1 cup light corn syrup, and 2 cups pecan halves. Okay, so step 1 is to roll out the crust. We're just going to put a little flour here on the counter and unwrap the crust. Now, to start, I just kind of squeeze it a little bit just to kind of start pressing it out into a circle and kind of keep the cracks together. And then we'll set it on our flour, get a little flour on the rolling pin, and then just give that a roll. After each roll, I like to turn it 1/4 turn. That's to make sure that it doesn't stick to the counter. And that can be, when I do teach pie classes, that is one of the main problems, is having the crust stick to the surface that you're rolling on. So to avoid that, you'll want to just put a little flour underneath it, and then every time you roll it, give it a 1/4 turn. So we're going to roll it a bit. And the other thing that turning it will do is help keep it in a circle. So it'll help it kind of keep its shape and then also prevent it from sticking. So roll it. If your pie crust does crack, that is usually the sign of a great pie crust. So don't be discouraged if it does start to crack. All it means is that it's kind of barely holding together because you didn't overmix it. And so that's exactly what you're going for. So hang in there. If you see cracks, don't worry about that. Roll it and give it a twist and roll and twist. There's a little crack. I'll just seal that together. And again, rolling and twisting. See there, it started to stick a little bit. I'll just make sure I get a flour under there. And it's looking like it's about the right size. And the way to check that is to take your pie plate, set it on top of the dough like this. And if there's about 2 inches around the edge, then you're good to go. Because remember, the pie crust has to sit in the pie plate. So you've got to have enough to go all the way across and then down this little edge here. So I'm going to do maybe a couple more rolls just to make sure we're nice and big to fit in there. And then there we go. Now I'll just fold the pie crust in half, set my pie plate here, move the pie crust over, and open that up. There we have our pie crust in our pie plate. Yay, we did it. So then you don't want to stretch the crust at all, because if you stretch it one way or another, it'll sink back in when it's cooking, and you want to avoid that. So gently just kind of lift the pie crust down so that it fits there into the pie plate. And you see we have this nice overhang Lots of crust here overhang it, and that'll give us a really nice edge. So to make the edge, we're just going to fold the pie crust under. And you don't want to fold under the pie plate, you're just folding right here onto the edge. So fold that under, fold this under. If you get a little too much, sometimes when you roll it, you'll have a real lopsided edge with a lot of crust hanging off. You can trim that off. Mine's fairly even, so I'm just going to go ahead and tuck it under. Anyway, okay, so this looks good. We've got our pie crust in the pie plate. Now for the edge, what we'll do is, let's use our thumb and then these two fingers, and you're going to press them together to make a little flute, the fluted edge. A little crease there. And there we go. We've got our lovely crust. Now, isn't that lovely? Now what we'll do with this is put this in the freezer until we're ready to use it. The reason we do that is freezing it will obviously bring the temperature of the pie crust down. And so once you put it in the oven, it will hold its shape better when it starts to bake. So having a cold pie crust is always better. So I'm going to put it in the freezer while we're making our filling. Then we'll add our filling and pop this in the oven, and that is it. For the filling, we'll start with 1 cup packed brown sugar. My kids are at school today, otherwise they'd be measuring for me. They love to measure the sugar and take a spoonful while they're at it. So 1 cup brown sugar. Then we'll add 1 cup corn syrup. This is light corn syrup, and I do often get questions, can we use something besides corn syrup? And yes, you can. You could substitute with agave or maple syrup. My favorite is always corn syrup, and I just, you know, we don't make this every day. We make it a few times a year, so I go ahead and use the corn syrup. It just sets up so nicely and has just the right flavor and the texture and everything, so I do stick with corn syrup, but people have asked me about substitutions, and you can. Okay, now we'll do 2 tablespoons of flour. Very easy. And this just helps thicken the filling a little bit. Next is 1 tablespoon vanilla extract. Smells so good. Next, we'll add our 2 tablespoons melted butter. Let's put that right in there. And finally, we've got our 3 eggs. One, 2, and 3. Now we'll whisk together the filling. Okay, next we'll add pecans, and these are pecan halves. You need 2 cups, and pour these in here. So easy. So we'll pour our filling right into the crust here. Looks so good, and it's still so easy. Okay, that fits in there real nicely. And there we have our pecan pie ready to go in the oven. I've got the oven preheating at 425 degrees, and this is something my mom taught me, is you always want to start it at a high temperature. So 425 is very hot. Well, the reason we're going to do that is because it's going to set the crust. A lot of times when people make pies, if you start it at a low temperature like 350, or even if your oven's not preheated, the crust will just melt and start to sink in and won't hold its really pretty fluted shape. So you want to have it at a high temperature. 425 is what we're using. It'll be a short time, 15 minutes, but that will set the crust in place so it stays nice and high and it stays in its shape. So remember that, start at 425 for 15 minutes, then we'll reduce the temperature and bake for the duration. So, okay, the pie is cool now. As far as packaging it up, I found these little 9-inch pie boxes, and so what I'm going to do is actually keep it in the pie plate and pop it right in there. And what a great gift to a neighbor. You give them the pie plate and the pie. We'll just put it in this 9-inch pie box and then shut the box, and there you have this beautiful homemade pie, this just delightful gift that would just mean so much, I know, to anyone. So that is one way to package this up and give to a neighbor. Another way, if you don't have the pie box, I found just some thick wired ribbon. And I'm gonna just pop it underneath the pie plate like this. Then we'll bring it across the top and tie it. Just carefully not to destroy the crust. And tie that in a nice little knot here, just real simple. There we go. And then I'm just gonna use my hands to kind of curl the ribbon around like that. Just give it a little curl with the wire on the edges of the ribbon. It holds real nicely. Then we'll curl this side, little curled ribbon there, and then you can carry the pie to a neighbor just like this. Thanks so much for joining us. Today we made this delicious Texas pecan pie that was so easy to make with just one bowl and a whisk. Anyone can do this. Have your kids help, have them measure, have them stir, and then when it's ready to serve, enjoy that with your family over the holidays or package it up and give it to a neighbor. For more recipes like this, hit the like button. Also subscribe and the bell button to get notifications for more recipes just like this with HEB.